Allegations of widespread corrupt international business deals are mounting against US President Joe Biden's family interests. Last week, American investigative journalist Peter Schweizer became the first to estimate how much the Biden family has received from just one of the countries in which it has had dubious private business dealings.
And one of the most startling things we uncovered is the simple fact that the Biden family, while he was vice president of the United States and continuing when he became president, received some $31 million from Chinese individuals who are linked to the highest levels of Chinese intelligence.
$31 million. Whoa.
Yep, $31 million. And these deals, which we lay out in the book, were carried out by a couple of individuals. One is a guy named Che Fang. Hunter Biden, in the Hunter Biden emails, refers to him as the super chairman.
Like some other business partners of the Biden family, Che Fang has since disappeared. In her best-selling book, Laptop from Hell, New York-based Australian journalist Miranda Devine says Super Chairman Che has not been seen since he was detained for questioning in Beijing in June 2015. According to a Hong Kong newspaper, he had been found guilty of money laundering, transferring cash to foreign countries, and selling Chinese intelligence to the West, a crime punishable by death. Hunter had no idea Che would one day fall foul with the Chinese establishment when he met him in 2011. Rather, he thought Che was his ticket to easy wealth. "I don't believe in lottery tickets anymore," he wrote to his business partner Devon Archer in 2011. "But I do believe in the super chairman." Hunter was in no doubt about why Che valued him as a partner. "It has nothing to do with me and everything to do with my last name," Devine quotes him saying in her book.
"I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China?"
When he campaigned for the presidency in 2020, Joe Biden portrayed himself as the clean, folksy politician from a little town called Scranton in Pennsylvania. It's now clear that this was an act, according to Devine.
It's really a ruse that he's used his entire political life. It's white privilege, but his family is the very embodiment of white privilege. He's always ensured that the best Ivy League colleges, the best grace and favour jobs, anything they want, judge clerkships, internships, whatever most mortals strive and work hard to make sure that their families are provided for in those ways. Joe Biden just accepts gratis and gives to his family care of his donors.
Devine's book also examines Hunter Biden's turbulent private life, which features excessive drug use and a messy divorce to the mother of his children in 2017, because he had started having an affair with his late brother's widow. His use of drugs and prostitutes became so excessive that he was blacklisted from the Chateau Marmont, the Hollywood hotel with a notoriously tolerant attitude towards such behaviour. But while all this was happening, Hunter also managed to hold meetings with Mexican tycoon Carlos Slim, the richest man in the world at the time, to discuss the privatization of Mexico's state-owned energy monopoly, be appointed to the board of Ukrainian energy company Burisma for 5 years, earning $4 million in fees, receive a founding share in Chinese investment company Bohai Harvest Rosemont, which in 2019 would have $2.5 billion under management, helped create Sino Hawk Holdings LLC in 2017, which would become a partner to CEFC, described as the capitalist arm of China's Belt and Road Initiative. Joe Biden himself would own 10% of Sino Hawk. The Chinese deals began when Hunter and Joe flew to Beijing in 2013, ostensibly so Joe could warn China to stop militarizing the South China Sea and stealing American intellectual property. This part of the trip wasn't successful.
Joe Biden just came away from this meeting empty-handed.
But the trip was successful for the family's interest.
The sight of Hunter Biden arriving on Air Force 2 was very well understood by the Chinese because, in overseas countries like China, like Russia, it's understood that you don't pay the bribe to the top official, you pay it to their family member, often a son or a daughter. This was American power come to do private business, and that was the way that they do it in China.
Had Joe Biden not won the presidency in 2020, all of these business deals might have faded into history and escaped scrutiny. But the fact the family's interests have continued to thrive while its patriarch occupies the White House has attracted a brighter spotlight.
Mark, this is unprecedented. I don't know of a time in American history where the American first family has had this kind of a financial bond with a foreign intelligence service, particularly a foreign intelligence service that wants to defeat the United States in global competition.
On one occasion as vice president, Biden overtly used his political influence to help Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company of which Hunter was a director, to avoid a corruption investigation. While visiting Ukraine in 2016, Biden withheld $1 billion US government loan until local authorities sacked prosecutor Victor Shokin, who was investigating Burisma and his son Hunter, and was about to subpoena him.
Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Joe Biden got his way. The president reluctantly fired Victor Shokin, even though he told Joe Biden, there's no evidence of what you're telling me, which is that I need to fire him because he's corrupt. There's no evidence that he's corrupt, but I'm doing it to show you goodwill.
The Secret Service is helping cover it all up, according to 2 Republican senators. In October 2020, Chuck Grassley of Iowa and Ron Johnson of Wisconsin requested details of Hunter's trips to Mexico, Russia, China, and Kazakhstan while his father was vice president. Hunter was acting as a private businessman, but he enjoyed the protection of the Secret Service. In a letter to the head of the Secret Service this month, Grassley and Johnson complain that the service has redacted details on hundreds of pages in its reply, which impede our officers' ability to understand the full scope of interactions between Hunter Biden, his associates, and the US Secret Service. Of particular interest is a trip Hunter made to Kazakhstan in June 2014 to meet then Prime Minister Karim Masimov to discuss a deal with his Ukrainian company, Burisma. Masimov visited Washington the next year and was photographed at a restaurant with both Hunter and Joe, who was vice president at the time. Hunter later described Masimov in an email as a close friend. A senior Ukrainian executive from Burisma was also at the dinner that night. An associate of Masimov's later transferred $142,000 US to Hunter's partner's firm. Masimov was this month arrested for high treason in the wake of widespread anti-government protests in Kazakhstan. Devine says none of the allegations of corruption in her book have been disputed by the Bidens, nor have they asked for a retraction since the book was published 3 months ago.
Joe Biden, as vice president, was involved in extracting money using his power and influence from overseas countries. And Joe Biden was up to his neck in Hunter Biden's business because it actually was Joe Biden's influence peddling business. At the New York Post, we have been reporting this for over a year, since October. I've published, before the book came out, I published, quite a few of the sort of revelations that are in the book. I published some of those in the New York Post. There's never been, the White House just ignores the stories.
Philip Ritchie, Sky News.